Hi, I'm Ken Brewster from eTabs in the UK, and I'll be presenting on dashboards, the new PowerPoint. PowerPoint. Why do we all think it is so good? For as long as I can remember now, PowerPoint has been the main deliverable on many a brief. But I wonder why. Is it because clients expect it from us, or because it's just what they're used to and aren't aware that there's something else out there? PowerPoint itself is a great tool. It's universally accepted. Whether or not it is the best tool, I remember Harvard Graphics, for example, which I thought was a worthy competitor. But anyway, there are many reasons, but we all use PowerPoint. Think VHS v Betamax, VHS 1. PowerPoint's great for speed, clarity, flexibility, etc. But I can't help asking myself, despite all the great stuff we can do with it, with funky gimmicks and so on, is it really the best tool for reporting? Today, clients want speed, empowerment, and flexibility. In terms of speed, when we report, we're always under the pressure of time because we are at the tail end of the survey process. Email delivery of results is often not quick enough. And time has moved fast, so businesses need those results in order to make critical decisions in a timely fashion. Empowerment. It's no longer acceptable just to deliver a large deck of tabs or a static presentation. There's always further questions, or what-if questions. The user wants the ability to drill down and answer those for themselves. It's good to have the headline information for the boardroom and the detail for the research team, because they're the ones who want to dig deeper. And at the same time, if we deliver this stuff electronically, they don't want to have to learn new software. We have to be flexible. Hard copy reports do not provide that flexibility. Our users want access to the data from wherever on their device of choice. Just look around now at how many people are walking around with smartphones, iPads, playbooks, or whatever. All of these things are data enabled. Similarly, we want the ability to convert and export our data to different formats. Dashboards can provide all of this and more. So, why aren't they making more of an impact in the market research world? I thought I'd deviate for a second here just to define what a dashboard is, because when researching the topic, it became clear to me from speaking to others around me that it wasn't actually clear what a dashboard was. Naturally, people have the vision of a car dashboard, but just try typing reporting dashboard into Google and you'll be surprised at how many different definitions you come across. The definition I put up here is one that I think is closest to what I see a dashboard as being. Basically, a visualization of data that is impactful and displayed in such a user-friendly way that the end user can go on there and in real time and get the answers to the questions that they have. I thought I'd just show a few examples of just how different dashboards can look and some of the features that they possess. You can show tables of data, maps, standard charts, of course, And usually the navigation is controlled by buttons or drop-down filters. This next example shows pyramid charts, line charts, donuts, gauges. Typically people naturally seem to associate gauges with dashboards, probably again because of the car connotation. Here we have another gauge, line charts, etc. The thing is, there's a lot of little bit of bits of navigation here. We have down in the chart on the bottom left, we have kind of date intervals. We have drop downs at the top. And you'll notice on the line chart there's supplementary data that's highlighted where the mouse has hovered over a data point. Here again we have gauges, area charts, a series of line charts. So dashboards essentially can be data rich, and you can display an awful lot of information on the one screen in a way that really isn't possible with PowerPoint. So let's think for a minute about dashboards and how they're used today. In the business intelligence world, dashboards have been around for many, many years. In a survey that took place last year, 74% of respondents rated the influence of dashboards or similar visualization tools as high or very high. %67% felt it had a significant impact on their productivity. So there obviously is a place for dashboards. Then I thought about, well, in the BI world, what do they use dashboards for? And looking at the array of top answers here, it immediately struck me that, well, most of these things are also relevant in market research. So why do we think that BI is so different? In the 2010 Global Market Research Survey conducted by Meaning, there's a question looking at the reporting methods that people use. PowerPoint is still number one by an awfully long way, followed by a number of other offline methodologies. Dashboards, strangely enough, only register in 6% of the cases. Now, dashboards were only added to the question in 2009, hence its absence in previous years. But if you look at 2010, I would have expected an increase there. But strangely enough, it remained the same. However, when asked to anticipate increased demand in the next year, 22% think there will be a major increase in the demand for digital dashboards. So maybe it's just that we are slow in adopting this new technology. Next up, I considered what is it that's stopping us from moving towards dashboards. I identified 3 areas: skill set, cost, and data issues. In terms of data, it is widely believed that basically dashboards cannot cope with the nuances of market research data. We believe our data is very different to that in other industries. Understandably so in many ways, because I've spoken to many technology vendors in the past who simply could not understand the concept of a multiple response question. To them, every question had a set of answers and that was it, and the percentages always added up to 100%. But there are other aspects of MR data that could cause issues. It's finding ways to show weighting, nets, and show statistical significance. Typically, your average BI dashboard doesn't do this. However, the reality is that dashboards can cope with this. It may not always be immediately obvious, but the underlying technology in dashboard products these days make it possible to replicate MR functionality. In terms of cost, naturally, this is a major barrier. If we were setting up a dashboard facility, there's all the infrastructure. Think of all the hardware you have to buy, the software. It's not just a matter of having one server. You need backup, you need security, you need staff training, people to administer all of this. The reality is that today there are services such as cloud computing and hosting providers who take away lots of this burden for us. So instead of having a huge capital outlay, in fact we can pay for these services on a monthly or per usage basis. Similarly, advances in the software make the need for staff training minimal and reduce the admin costs. In terms of skill set, it's believed that we need all kinds of web programmers, database designers, etc. Because it's not just a matter of recreating the PowerPoint charts in an online environment. However, the reality of the situation is that dashboard software these days actually are pretty robust. They have lots of features to cater for these things, and they kind of guide you through the process. An understanding of database technology is still essential, in my view, but a lot of the other roles pretty much fall into place. And some of them actually exist today in most market research organizations because there is an overlap. Now when we move to a dashboard environment, it opens up a whole new world of possibilities. So you're no longer stuck with the basic charting that you're used to in PowerPoint. So I hope we will see the end of charts such as this and more creative visualization such as this. And typically this kind of thing would probably be shown in some kind of bar chart, but surely you can see it's more impactful when displayed in context to the subject. Data visualization is also all around us. We see it now in many news websites. The Wall Street Journal have a wonderful section online called Interactive Graphics, where the general public can go in, look at some visualization and the subject of their choice, and interact with the data. It gives them a rich understanding and an ability to drill down and look at the splits of the data which are most pertinent to them. This is one of my favorite charts, which I found whilst trawling through various sites. It's based on the Soccer World Cup from last year, and it shows where the players from each national country play their club football. And being an avid soccer fan, I was drawn to it. It's an amazing way to show a vast amount of data. This one I've seen in many places. It's another great way to show large numbers. So if you want to compare different items such as OPEC revenue, for example, it's an incredibly a large amount of money, especially when you compare, for example, to their climate change fund, very relevant right now. So things such as this really do hit home because they give you some form of relevance. When you're comparing really large numbers to really small numbers on some kind of bar chart, it's really difficult to get that across. But a chart such as this really does show it. This recent example I found relates to the Canadian election. And again, this was available to the general public, and you could go on, click on your constituency, see what the election result was, see how it compared to last time. A large amount of data, again, available in an easy-to-use way. No training is needed, no large online help files required. It's very easy to find your way around. So what about social media? I hear people cry. Social media is the in thing. Well, dashboards have really thought about this. Many dashboard vendors are already incorporating social media metrics into their offering. Naturally, there are an awful lot of things to bring in here. So if you're doing some kind of web trawl, you'll get a whole range of information on your subject. So the trick really is to extract the bits of information that are valuable from all of the surrounding noise. But just think how valuable it would be to a brand manager to have a dashboard that links sales and performance data with customer sentiment. I have an example here from the NCAA showing they have a range of information about teams, individual games, etc. in a traditional type dashboard, but they also incorporate Twitter feeds. Let's go back to market research then. Whenever I show somebody a market research dashboard, there are two questions that I get without fail. Firstly, can I print it? And secondly, can I export it to PowerPoint? So I guess when market research does fully adopt dashboards, they will come with two buttons very prominently displayed somewhere on the canvas. So in summary, I would say that dashboards are a viable way of representing market research data. The BI and MR are not really as different as we think. The cost is no longer a major prohibitor. Dashboards are now available to smaller organizations as well as large ones. And the technology certainly isn't dead or stagnant. It is forward-thinking because they are already looking to exploit the advantages of social media. So I'm not advocating that PowerPoint be replaced by dashboards. Instead, what I'm saying is that dashboards can sit alongside PowerPoint and happily coexist. Thank you. Any questions?